Good morning, everybody. This is Deacon Kyle Teets. Sometimes in the Gospels and the Scriptures, we hear a lot of different titles of Jesus. Son of Man, Son of God, Messiah, Christ, Son of David. I think one today to look at is the title Son of David. Now, these titles don't just come out of anywhere, not just some arbitrary words we use to attach to Jesus, but it has a context. The first reading today picks up from yesterday, where we heard about the Babylonian exile from the second book of Kings, a very tragic time for the people of Israel and Judah. Now, the Babylonians, we heard last time, had ransacked the city of Jerusalem, burnt things down, but then they propped up this king Zedekiah. Now, Zedekiah is kind of an interesting figure. He's the last king, and his name means the righteous one of God, which is kind of ironic because it's said in the Bible that he did evil in the sight of the Lord. So kind of an ironic name there. But the Babylonians prop up this king Zedekiah, and he decides to rebel against them, which is ultimately a very bad move. So we hear again today about the destruction of Jerusalem, the turmoil against the people, buildings being burned down, and people being exiled. But one particularly difficult and tragic thing we hear today is about the death of Zedekiah and his sons. The king of Babylon takes Zedekiah and his two sons, kills the two sons in front of Zedekiah, and then blinds Zedekiah. So the last thing he sees is the death of his sons. The last thing he sees is the death of the line of Israel and Judah. Wow. Very tragic moment here. Now, if we recall back to King David, God made a covenant, a promise to David that his throne would endure forever. Now imagine seeing the death of the last king, people of Israel and Judah being exiled, sent to Babylon, and no kings will come after that. Now, this all happens beginning of the 6th century BC. Now, if we fast forward to the time of Jesus, 600 years later, without a king, with wondering about that promise to David about his throne enduring forever, what could happen? And we hear immediately, especially in the Gospel of Matthew, about Jesus as the Son of David. The first line of Matthew is the genealogy of Jesus the Messiah, the Son of David, the son of Abraham. And the genealogy ties, going back to David, from Joseph, Jesus' foster father here on earth, tying Jesus to the figure of David. Later on in the Gospel of Matthew, there's a particularly poignant healing miracle that Jesus does. Two blind men are on the side of the road, and they cry out, "Have mercy on us, Son of David." They use this title, Son of David. And I can't think that we cannot overlook the fact that in the first reading today we hear about a king being blinded, about how he sees, the last thing he sees is the end of the kingdom, the end of the reign of kings, the end, or so he thought, of the Davidic line. And in the gospel passage with the two blind men, two men that cannot see, yet still have faith and hope, recognize the presence of Jesus, the Son of David, the true king, who will fulfill the Davidic covenant and usher in the new covenant that ultimately we all partake in. So sometimes, we hear these different titles of Jesus, but I think for today to reflect upon the title of Jesus, Son of David, to recognize that it is very grounded historically and in the historical covenant with the people of Israel, ultimately being brought to completion in the person of Jesus Christ. So perhaps in prayer today we can call out, like those two blind men did, "Have mercy on us, Son of David."